Welcome to this presentation on strategy modeling, using Enterprise Architect and the Sparks modeling platform. You will learn about some of the tools and facilities available to strategists and business architects to create and manage strategic models using a range of languages, including Archimate, UML, and BPMN. You develop and review the models collaboratively. You can share them with customers and various other disciplines from executives, managers, architects, system and software engineers, and any other stakeholders who define, develop and view strategy models. In this presentation, we will cover the following topics: create strategic models and diagrams, visualize the enterprise with dashboards, charts, and diagrams, manage strategic plans and trace to project artifacts, model organization charts and strategic stakeholders, view, collaborate, share, review, and publish strategic models. Create strategic models and diagrams. In this topic, you will learn how to view the enterprise in strategic diagrams that executives and business stakeholders understand. By the end of the topic, you will have seen benefits, including prepare for change with Porter's value chain, model mission and vision statements, perform a SWOT analysis and link elements, create balanced scorecards and strategy maps, and more. Prepare for change with Porter's value chain, a strategic device you use to model how your organization creates value for its market. It comprises primary and secondary activities that are important for an organization's success. Create a value chain from a pattern and modify it to model how your organization operates. Change colors, gradients, styles, and more to make the diagram more appealing for business stakeholders. Know where you are, and where you are going, by creating a mission statement to describe the organization's business and goals and how it will reach those goals. A vision statement describes the desired future position of the organization. You can model both these statements and link lower-level elements such as strategy, business, information, and technology elements to create traceability back to the vision and mission. These connections show how goals are realized by capabilities and business services, processes, application technology elements, and more. Perform a SWOT analysis and represent the results diagrammatically, identifying strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats clearly and concisely. Create diagrams for different contexts or divisions of a business or technical environment, and use colors and styles, and layout options to make the SWOT diagrams more appealing. Add rich metadata to the elements that will help analyze weaknesses and minimize threats, and provide drill downs to how you will achieve this in practice. Translate your strategy into goals and objectives with expressive balanced scorecard diagrams. Communicate the business strategy to all stakeholders and levels in your organization. Create the diagrams yourself or generate them from a model wizard pattern, and add organization-specific details for each perspective, including descriptions. Use hyperlinks to drill down to goals, objectives, requirements, user stories, use cases, and other initiative-level artifacts, ensuring you can trace from projects back to strategy. Focus with a strategy map and model aspects of the primary strategic goals an organization or management team is pursuing. The map groups elements into the 4 perspectives: financial, customer, internal, and learning and growth, and allows the elements contained in the perspectives to be related to each other. The strategy map helps to ensure that a common strategic understanding exists, to focus organization efforts, and to select the correct measures to report on the organization's progress in implementing a strategy. Make capabilities smart, by showing information about the capabilities in 2 dimensions using dynamic legends that automatically color the diagram. Bring your capabilities to life using built-in or user-defined properties such as priority, business criticality, and technology enablement. Watch as the tool dynamically updates diagrams in response to changes in element properties. Define your own legends and colors, set alternate legend display names, and reuse legends by dragging them from the browser onto any diagram canvas. Link capabilities to your organization's vision, and set a course towards realizing its future position. The vision describes where the organization wants to be, but not how it gets there. A strategist models goals and links these to the vision. They can then analyze the existing capabilities or create new capability increments to model how to achieve the goals and thus the vision. A modeler can in turn connect the capabilities to application services and application components that realize the capabilities. You can view these connectors in diagrams or specialized windows like the relationship matrix. Create industry-standard business process diagrams using BPMN, the Business Process Model and Notation Standard. You can also create more advanced choreography and collaboration diagrams to model how organizations interact. Use a myriad of diagramming tools to boost productivity, including layout, filtering, legends, pan and zoom, appearance, layers, publishing, and more. Model strategic and operational risk, and link elements to parts of your strategy, architectures, and solutions. Risk is an important strategic consideration, and can prevent an organization from achieving its goals. Model risk using the Open Groups Risk Taxonomy, and record threat agents and communities, and the frequency and force of a threat. You can also model the resistance level and the vulnerability and loss magnitude. A strategist can model all risk types, including but not limited to strategic, financial, technology, cybersecurity, intellectual property, and natural event risks. Get off to a flying start by automatically injecting strategic models and diagrams into your repository using the Model Wizard patterns. Browse the extensive pattern library, which contains patterns for creating a range of strategic models, from organizational charts to SWOT analysis. Peruse the documentation accompanying each pattern to understand the benefit it will bring, and how best to work with it. Switch perspectives and gain access to more than 1,000 other helpful analysis, requirements, information, user experience, and model publishing patterns. Visualize the enterprise with dashboards, charts, and diagrams. In this topic, you will see how to view the enterprise in simple and compelling charts such as sunburst and bubble charts with drill down. By the end of the topic, you will have seen benefits, including: get real-time views of strategic enterprise information. Engage business executives with compelling views. Create tailored stakeholder dashboards and diagrams. View strategic, tactical, and solution roadmaps. And more. Visualize enterprise and desktop applications and gain powerful and revealing insights into their strategic and tactical importance, complexity, and cost. These expressive diagrams will appeal to business and technical stakeholders who need to manage application portfolios and ensure they provide a return on investment, and demonstrate tangible value to the business. Drill down through multiple dimensions with sunburst charts that allow you to quickly invert dimensions, such as programs, projects, and strategic, tactical, and obsolete application groups. Unlock the wealth of information in the repository, and serve it to corporate stakeholders and executives in compelling and interactive charts. You can change report settings such as colors and styles to align with your organization's conventions. Survey your capability landscape, and create compelling diagrams that model capability hierarchies, and drill down to reveal the underlying metadata associated with each capability. Plan the future with dynamic roadmaps, and use them to guide your organization to positive and predictable business and technology outcomes. Generate roadmaps from predefined patterns, or add them as an overlay to any existing diagram of capabilities, applications, work packages, and more. You can see the applications and other elements on a timeline and segment their lifetime into discrete phases, showing you precisely, for example, when an application will change from mainstream production into retirement. Express meaning and create compelling diagrams using images from a user-defined or system image library. Import vector or raster-based images from various sources, and then include them in your diagrams to create appeal for stakeholders. Discover where images have been used in your diagrams by selecting the usage option, and update these images globally from the library window. Use an enterprise-grade repository that can store all the elements, matrices, and diagrams of your architecture landscape. Enjoy rigorous security with the flexibility to collaborate with colleagues, consultants, and customers in the desktop and browser-based tools. Assemble strategic, tactical, and solution architectures, viewpoints, reference and standards libraries, and add entries to a governance log. create organization or team metamodels with user-defined properties that can be used to drive powerful web-based visualizations in the desktop tool, WebEA, and the powerful Prolaborate dashboards. Structure your architecture landscape into a hierarchy of architectures, from strategic through tactical or segment to solution architectures. Use a nested package diagram to clearly show how these architectures are related or visualize them in a tree in the browser window. Add dynamic legends to the diagram to color the different levels of architecture, and add metadata and notes to describe them in detail. Find and manage the gaps between baseline and transition or target architectures, and use these to assess the size of the transition or change. Use Enterprise Architects gap matrices to visualize missing, eliminated, or new items between any two architectures. Use architecture or solution building blocks in the matrix to understand the change from an abstract or solution viewpoint, and include these in web views or publications generated directly from the model. Manage strategic, tactical or segment, and solution architectures using roadmap overlays that show the relationship between these three levels of architecture. You can break down each architecture timeline into segments based on system or user-defined properties such as phase, and you can style each segment using dynamic legends. Include the diagrams in web views using Prolaborate or WebEA, or publish them in corporate documentation generated directly from the model. Manage strategic plans and trace to project artifacts. In this topic, you will see how to create and view strategic plans and models, and trace solution artifacts back to these strategic elements and documents. By the end of the topic, you will have seen benefits, including: record strategic workshops, create or view strategic plans and their connections, trace from solutions back to strategy, analyze competitors and strategic position, and more. Record questions and answers for strategic meetings in a mind map in physical or virtual workshops, allowing stakeholders to visualize their ideas and concerns in a business-friendly diagram. Follow up the focus group or workshop, analyze the results and connect the derived drivers, goals, needs, and concerns to the statements recorded in the mind map. As the specification and solution evolve, trace from any design or implementation element, via the goals, back to the original stakeholder statements, ensuring that what you implement will delight your stakeholders. Decompose the strategic plan by tracing project artifacts back to goals, objectives, and ultimately the strategic plan itself. These important plans set the course, and guide the organization through the often turbulent waters of operational and financial environments, but are often not referred back to during project execution. You can use a matrix to visualize the connection between projects and goals and ensure that as each project milestone is achieved, that part of the strategy is delivered to stakeholders and executives. Plan strategically with drivers and goals and show how you derive these critical indicators from documents like strategic and operational plans. Reference external documents or web pages or create documents directly in Enterprise Architect and trace drivers, goals, and other elements to these documents to show their provenance. Trace from product back to the strategic plan to ensure that what has been designed and planned for implementation complies with this important strategic document. The facility safeguards against both gaps in your design where a solution doesn't exist, and also scope creep where a solution has been designed but doesn't have any equivalent statement in the strategic plan. You can visualize the connection between implementation elements, including objectives, goals, courses of action, and drivers both in diagrams and the traceability window. Create and view competitors, drivers, goals, capabilities, and other strategy elements as documents, and gain productivity by working with this familiar business tool. You can immediately toggle from this view to a spreadsheet, list, diagram, or Gantt chart view. Switch any package or diagram to the specification view and work as you would in your favorite word processor. Set display options, including level numbering, note visibility, and create new and delete existing elements directly from the specification manager. Change your project role at the drop of a hat, by selecting a perspective, and watch Enterprise Architect set your focus on the chosen discipline by hiding other tool options. Choosing a perspective will increase your productivity as you concentrate on modeling using the tools and options available for your selected role. Create tailored perspectives by including selected technologies relevant to your modeling intent, or create perspectives for teams and groups, ensuring the entire team stays focused. Analyze your competitors in the marketplace and catalog the aspects of their products and services that threaten your organization's success. Record benchmarking results and market analysis, including surveys and other research tools. Create user-defined properties such as threat level, customer segment, market uniqueness, and other metadata to categorize your observations and analysis. Use matrices to show how your offerings compare to your competitors, and share your results with colleagues and management using WebEA and Prolaborate in a browser. Position an organization strategically, and visualize the competitive and business landscape in a diagram. Strategy concerns knowing how to differentiate yourself from competitors, and position your organization to achieve its goals. Create expressive diagrams that describe the strategic position, annotating competitor relationships with metrics like the overlap of products or services. You can use legends to dynamically color elements in a diagram or apply filters and layers to bring the diagram to life, and focus on areas of stakeholder interest. Model organization charts and strategic stakeholders. In this topic, you will see how to create models of human resources, stakeholders and their relationships, and team calendars. By the end of the topic, you will have seen benefits, including model organization charts of roles and people. View internal and external strategic stakeholders. Show stakeholder interrelationships and properties. Create strategic calendars of events and tasks. And more. Model an organization's who's who and display the roles or business units in a diagram using a tree layout or a list view. Add system or user-defined properties to the elements or connectors to add additional information as required. Use the elements that make up the organizational chart in other parts of your repository, including assigning business owners to business processes, business rules, systems, and more. Show the different people who occupy the roles over time, using instances of the classes. Know who's who in your stakeholder community, both inside and outside your organization. Visualize the stakeholders in organizational units to help understand their influence and needs. Use stakeholder names qualified by roles to ensure you know the person to speak to about project or enterprise concerns. Careful management of stakeholders will result in positive business and project outcomes and reduce the amount of time spent in meetings and workshops. Achieve strategic success by understanding your stakeholders and delighting them with value-based products and services. Document and visualize stakeholder characteristics, attributes, and concerns, and use these to provide a context for private interviews, workshops, and meetings, and to assist in resolving stakeholder conflicts. Using the matrix window, you can quickly visualize stakeholder characteristics, attributes, and concerns in preparation for stakeholder workshops. Create your own characteristics and change high H, medium M, and low L to values meaningful to your project. Understand your project and enterprise stakeholders by creating expressive maps of the significant stakeholders and their relations. When you clearly define the relationships between stakeholders, you can more easily resolve stakeholder conflicts and ensure better overall outcomes for the entire group of stakeholders. Any project staff can use the maps, reusing them across multiple initiatives. Replace the elements with icons to represent the type of stakeholder, or use avatars or photos for each stakeholder. Express your organization's policies by defining business rules that express their application and how they manifest at a business operation level. Use Enterprise Architect's powerful tracing ability, and show how business rules relate to policies using tools like diagramming, matrices, traceability, and reports. Drivers emerge as external or internal conditions that motivate an organization to define its goals and decompose them into the subgoals or objectives necessary to implement the required change. Visualize and trace from implementation-level artifacts back to the stakeholders, goals and drivers that triggered the need for change. This connectivity ensures staff at all levels, from strategy to implementation, understand the motivation for their work. Use the calendar to schedule and view meetings, milestones, reviews, workshops, and more. You can use it to view the allocation of resources to elements in the repository, such as who is responsible for analyzing a set of requirements. A project or product manager can also use the calendar to view project tasks and conveniently click through to the elements in the browser window or the project tasks. View, collaborate, share, review, and publish strategic models. In this topic, you will see how to view strategy on multiple devices, collaborate with colleagues and customers, create publications, and exchange content. By the end of the topic, you will have seen benefits, including view models in real time through a web browser, collaborate, discuss, chat, mail and review models, exchange data with spreadsheets and documents, publish high-quality corporate documents, and more. Put strategy in your pocket, and instantly view real-time models in a browser no matter where you are. View the models on a notebook, tablet, or smartphone, and create new diagrams, changes, issues, and more, adding notes and other details as required. Collaborate with colleagues, executives, consultants, and customers by entering into discussions, chat, reviews, and viewing each other's model additions and changes, in real time. Ensure you are on track with reviews of essential or critical parts of your model. Invite colleagues or others, like customers and consultants, to review model content such as architecture descriptions, principles, catalogs, and diagrams. Conduct reviews inside the desktop tool or in a web browser using the powerful collaboration features of the ProCloud server. Collaborate with customers, colleagues, and consultants, and build strategic models in record time using the collaboration and team features. Enterprise Architect is built from the ground up as a collaboration platform for sharing ideas and working and modeling together. Collaborate with your team and stakeholders no matter where they are located, and chat, discuss, comment, review, and share strategies, architectures, solutions, and visualizations, all in real time. Generate high-quality corporate documents directly from the model. Use a range of document generation techniques with flexible system or user-defined templates, filters, and presentation options. Completely customize your publications to comply with industry, corporate, or customer standards, including styles and logos. Add static and dynamic content, and auto-regenerate the document when the model changes. Generate publications in formats such as docx, HTML, PDF, and more. Perform what-if analysis with decision simulations that bring decision model and notation diagrams to life. Link these diagrams to elements in strategic and business architecture models to define and understand the important decisions that are part of the problem or solution space. Specify any number of your own data sets and run simulations to see the resulting decisions, and visualize the steps in the decision-making process with annotations that indicate why a choice was made. Exchange strategies, drivers, goals, capabilities, stakeholder concerns, risks, and other elements with spreadsheets using the CSV Exchange utility. Save time and effort by importing existing definitions from spreadsheets, including inbuilt properties such as type, status, and priority, or user-defined properties such as business owner or criticality. Create and reuse your specifications for both import and export of modeling information. In this presentation, we have covered the following topics: create strategic models and diagrams, visualize the enterprise with dashboards, charts, and diagrams, manage strategic plans and trace to project artifacts, model organization charts and strategic stakeholders, view, collaborate, share, review, and publish strategic models.